Hi guys, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to Skill Tech Club, and this is going to provide you a daily dose of AI and Azure learning. My name is Maruti, and I'm very happy to welcome you on this particular video, which is going to be very interesting. Now, I am assuming that you are following our videos and you are watching language service step-by-step kind of a guides, and you are watching different Azure AI services with step-by-step hands-on demos. Now in this particular video today, we are going to focus on conversational language understanding. This is a very important concept of natural language processing. If you are not familiar with what kind of capabilities NLP, natural language processing, is providing, I strongly recommend you to visit this video. And inside that video, I have already explained that there are three things which you need to understand: utterances, entity, and intent. Basically, conversational language understanding is helping you to understand what is an intent of the user. So when user is going to say something, type something in the chatbot, or maybe he is going to just give you some kind of an input. When user is providing this kind of an input, a computer or an AI system has to understand what is an intent of that user, and based on that it has to give a solution. Conversational language understanding is exactly focusing on this. If I simplify this process, let's say when you try to communicate with someone, you try to pitch your point, you try to explain what you are actually looking for, and the other person understands that. Same way, if computer system has to understand this, you need to design your conversational language understanding in such a way that computers understand that. Now, how exactly we are going to do this thing? That's what we are going to see step by step in this particular video. In order to save my and your time, I have already created a language service. As you can see right now, I'm already on my Azure portal. This is the same language service which we have created earlier in the previous lab, and that was actually focusing on custom question answering solution. If you do not know how to create a language service in Azure portal, I request you to check out that video. But as of now, a language service is successfully created. I have a language studio in which I have already connected my email, I have already connected my account with that. All I have to do is I have to create a new project. Now when I click on the create new project option, there are multiple types of projects which are available. Right now we are going to select conversational language understanding, which is actually showing you here in the notes that you can build natural language into apps, bots, and IoT devices. Basically, this can also be used with IoT devices because your modern IoT devices or your modern Alexa or Google, they're actually working based on your commands when you say something. How they understand the intent of the user? Well, they're using similar kind of a conceptual technology. Let's see this thing. I'm going to choose conversational language understanding. I am going to give a proper name. Let's say I'm giving a name of this project Smart Home. Now don't worry, we are not going to build up any smart home, but like a smart home devices, we want to create some kind of a scenario with that. I'm just going to put simple home automation. So this is going to be there. I do not want to enable multilingual project right now, and my default language is going to be English only. So I'm okay with all this configuration. I'm going to click on next and create. Now, once this project is successfully created, I want you to focus on this left side column. This is showing me two important steps first. We have schema definition and we have data labeling. These two are actually going to help you to build up your conversational language understanding, intent, entity, and labeling. And this is all three which we are going to see right now. As you can see right now, we do not have any intents, we do not have any entities also. And what we are going to do is we are going to build up some intent first. Now, when you want to know the user's intent, you need to understand through what user is saying or typing. So maybe user is going to provide some input text, or maybe he is going to say something through the voice. Whatever user is trying to provide in that particular statement, that statement itself is actually known as utterances. Now there can be multiple utterances which user is going to say, and based on that you have to identify the intent of the user. Now if this is all little confusing for you, I request you to please go through that video and just be with me for next 5-10 minutes and you'll understand what exactly utterance and intent is all about. Now in the intent section, I do not have any intent, but I want to add one new intent. And let's say the intent is actually switch on, and I'm going to click on add intent. And I want one more intent, which is actually switch off. So maybe my user is going to have an intent of switching on something or switching off something. That's what I'm trying to putting across. When I go into switch on, I'm clicking inside this particular intent, and then it's showing me that, okay, you should add a training set so that we can train the model on this. And with that, you can actually do data labeling. So basically, the moment I click and go inside that, is actually going to take me to this data labeling section. I'm inside the data labeling section, and I'm going to click on skip all. And now they're asking me, select your intent, which is switch on, and add your utterances. This utterances will be those statements which user might say or type. And that's why I'm going to add a couple of utterances here. Let's say user is going to say, switch on the fan. That's my first utterance. Or he's going to say, put the fan on. Second one. Or maybe he's going to say, put the light on. Or he's going to say, switch on the light. Switch on the light. Or maybe I'm going to add one more, which is turn the fan on. Remember, because this is switch on kind of an intent, we are just giving different things here, and we're just saying that these are all going to be turned on whenever user is going to say something like this. Now remember, as of now, this particular training set do not know what is a fan, do not know what is a light. So we will do something for that also. Just hang on. But right now, my intent is switch on. I have done this thing. I'm going to click on save changes. Now I'm going back to my schema definition. This is showing me switch on is having 5 labeled utterances in that. And now I'm going to go into switch off. Similarly, I'm going to create some utterances for my switch off intent. Turn the light off. Next, switch off the fan. Put the fan off. Put the light off. Turn off the light. Switch the fan off. Now I have added all this in switch off intent. These are my multiple utterances. You can add as many utterances as you want. And this is how it is. I'm going to click on save changes once again. So basically, up to this point, we have just prepared one thing, which is creating our two intent and then adding some utterances inside that. Now, even though this is showing me labeled utterances, these utterances are actually not labeled because we have not connected this with any particular label. In order to do that, I need to do one more step, which is entities. Entities are going to be those elements which are connected with your intent and utterances. Like for example, when we said switch the fan off, fan is actually that entity which we want to turn off or turn on. Same way, light is also that entity. Now, we need to associate these entities with our utterances, and that is what we have to do when we configure this. Now, in order to do this thing in the add entity option, in this particular entities, we are going to click on add, and we are going to say that the new entity which we want to create is actually device. So this is a new kind of an entity which we are giving here. Now entities can also have multiple types. It can be learn entity, it can be list entity, something like weekdays. It can be a pre-built entity, something like email or a date time or something like that. Or it can be any regular expression which you can also add as an entity. I'm going to choose right now learn because I have to teach my training data set that what exactly this entity is. So I'm going to click on learn entity right now, or I can click on list also. I think let me go with list so that I can create a list of the elements here. And then I'm going to click on add entity. Because we can have list of devices in this, I'm going to choose that one. In this, we have an option that, okay, if you're creating a list of the entity, why don't you just add a new list and you add a configuration of that. I'm going to add a new list, and I can actually add a value also here. Like let's say I'm going to add a value that phone. Now I know phone is not there in our utterances, but I'm just showing you that we can add this kind of a list here, which is actually going to be selected with that. And then we can also add synonyms of that. Like phone can also call like mobile or cell phone. And then we can add one more item in this. By saving this, and then we can add one more list into this. So this is how you can configure that actually. Now in my case, when we are dealing with this, I really do not have any phone kind of an utterance which is associated with that. So I really don't need this list. I'm just going to select this and I'm going to click on delete. So I actually do not want this phone kind of a entity in my case. I'm just going to delete this thing. Basically, this is my device kind of an entity which I have created, and it is of type list, but I do not want to add any list right now inside this. What exactly I'm going to do? Well, once I have an entity configured here, the device is available here. I'm going to link this particular device entity with my utterances, and that's where I'm going to click on intents. I'm going to click on switch on, and in the switch on, I'm going to select my fan. And the moment I select this fan word in this utterance, I'm going to select device. The moment I do this, this is going to identify that, oh, this is actually one of the device. Same way, I'm going to say light is also one of the device. So I'm just selecting light and fan as a device. Same way, you can have any utterance which is actually phone also. So you can add all these things into that and it will be adding them as a list. Now let's say I want to add one more in switch on, and I'm going to say turn the mobile on. We normally do not say this, but yeah, this is turn the mobile on. And then I'm going to add this, and while adding this also you can say that okay, mobile is also nothing but one of the device. This is how you can connect this. I'm going to click on save changes, and the moment I save this, is showing me that okay, device has actually 6 learn entity inside that. Now we are good with this. I'm going back to my schema definition. We'll click on switch off now, and we'll select the same way fan is a device, light is a device, and we do not have any other thing. So this is fine. I'm going to click on save changes. So my learn entities are done. It's actually showing me fan and light kind of a thing. We have intent to intent. We have 6 utterances in each one of them. And we have one entity which is device. And because we are trying to create a smart home, maybe in future we want to add more devices into that. Now, when we do this thing, this is how you have to create your training data set. And that's what we have done right now. Once your training data set is successfully created, you have to focus on training that particular job, training that particular model, and then you have to make sure that your model is performing well. This is what we do in any machine learning kind of programming. Now, let me click on training jobs. Now, logically, I have to provide so many utterances, multiple entities, and multiple schema also associated with that, with the labels. But because this is a very short video, I'm not going into in-depth in that. I'm going to click on start a training job. Of course, my model is not going to be perfect right now, but it's just to give you a sneak peek that how exactly this is going to work. We are doing this. It's going to show me that, okay, train a new model name. I'm going to say smart home model. This is the name of my model. It's going to be a standard training, which is going to be free. If you go for advanced training, you can do the customization with your algorithms and other things, but I'm not going with that right now. Standard training is going to be free as well as very fast. So I'm going to go with this. It's asking me what kind of a split ratio you want to configure for this. 80% data is going to be used for training, 20% is used for testing. Anyhow, we have very less data, so we are not really worried about this. I'll click on train, and it's going to take some time to train this model. It's going to be very quick because we are doing a free training right now, and it's very soon going to show me that your status of the model training is actually completed. Of course, this model will not be even nearby to the perfect model, but yeah, it's just for the sake of checking this whether it's working or not. We are just training this model. Now, while we are waiting for this particular model to get trained, I request you to please click on that like button, subscribe button, and click on the bell notification so that whenever we launch a new video, you should not miss that. I hope you're enjoying these videos, and I hope you're learning this thing step by step. I also strongly recommend you to do these labs practically. If you are looking for the lab environment, if you have issues with some other kind of courses related material things, feel free to connect with us. We are here to help you. Yes, with this, my model training is successfully completed. As you can see, it's showing me training succeeded. This means that my model is successfully trained. Now let me click on model performance section where I can see that my model is there. I can click on that model and this is actually going to show me a precision score, recall score, and some other model performance related metrics. Like you can see right now, they are clearly giving me a warning that we do not have enough intent labels in this training set. Of course, as I said, the data is not enough, but they have still trained this thing. If I click on the other tabs like model performance, it's showing me that switch on, switch off kind of an intent are successfully trained. If we click on training test set, they are actually going to show me that light kind of a thing is actually selected as a device. Distribution data set, they're giving me warning, not enough training set is available. We have to add more training set inside that. And in the confusion metrics, I'll be able to see values which are associated with the confusion metrics. Now, I'm not going very in-depth in this because we are not learning machine learning right now, but I'm happy that my model is successfully trained. The F1 score, precision score, and recall score is actually 100%, which means that it is actually able to identify these two intent which I'm trying to configure. Now, in order to use this, we have to go to the next step, which is deploying a model. Obviously, without deploying a model, you cannot use it. So I'm going to click on Add Deployment. I'm going to create a new deployment. The name of the deployment will be SH Deploy. So this is a smart home deploy. Which model I want to choose in this? My smart home model. And then it's going to be selected in this region and in this service. I'm going to click on Deploy. Deployment is also going to take some time. Now, so far, whatever we have done in these videos, if you are liking this, I strongly recommend you to please say wonderful in the comment box of this particular video. This is a really good encouragement for us. Also, if you are interested in any other Azure AI related topics or learnings, please comment in this particular video. We will make sure that we will create a dedicated video on that. The deployment is successfully created. It's showing me SH deploy is available here. If I select the deploy model, I can actually get a prediction URL. This is going to generate a URL and you can taste this URL by just posting a data using a curl. Now, I do not want to do this thing. I want to taste my deployment, whether it's working or not. And that's why I'm going into the Taste Deployments tab. This is the last and final tab which we are going to see right now. So we need to check whatever configuration we have done is working or not. I'll choose my deployed model, which is SH deploy. And in this particular text, I have to put something. Let's say I'm saying, turn the fan on. And then I'm going to click on run the test. When I say this, they are saying the top intent is switch on. They're 100% sure about this. And they also identified that there is one device associated with this, which is fan. Now let's say I'm going to say, turn the phone on. Remember, phone word was not used in any of the labels. I have used mobile. Phone was not there. Still, if I run the test, it's going to show me that the top intent is switch on and phone is actually device. Now, I hope you agree with me. There was no word like TV. I'm saying turn the TV on and I'm going to run the test. And this time also it's saying that yes, top intent is switch on and device is TV. And they are very 100% sure that the TV is actually nothing but a device. Now, how exactly this model is knowing this thing? Well, that's what the smartness of your language service. Based on this, you can identify what is actually the intent of your user. Remember one thing, identifying the intent of the user is the goal of conversational language understanding model. Remember, once you identify the intent, what exactly you want to do next, like how exactly you're going to turn on the TV or how exactly you're going to turn on the lights, that's not the purpose, that's not the thing which you have to do inside the language service. Language service is just going to help you to identify the intent. After that, your developers has to maybe write an additional IoT specific code and turn on the light or maybe turn on the TV. This is something which how it is. Same way, let me focus on switch off my fan. I'm just saying this kind of a statement which is not matching with the exact utterance. And if I run the test, you will see something that sometimes when you're giving this kind of statements, the top intent they are saying it is switch off. Confidence is not 100%, it is little lesser than that because they are not very sure this is the exact match or not. And that is the reason this is a place where you have to add more examples, you have to add more utterances when you are creating any particular intent. The more data you provide, your model is going to be very, very sure, very, very confident about deciding that particular intent and entity. You can see right now in the entities they are very sure, but in the intent they are not very sure. It's not 100%, and that accuracy is very important. So please do not take it for granted. Add more data. The more data you have, your model is going to be better. With this, I think that's it for the day. I hope you like this video. Thank you so much. This is your friend Maruti. I'll see you tomorrow. Happy learning to all of you.